Welcome to the AIA Hong Kong 2020 Honors and Awards presentation. This year, we recognize design submissions in architecture, interior architecture, urban design, and sustainability, together with scholastic awards, as we do every year, to reflect undergraduate talents, and a citation award for distinguished achievement in raising public awareness towards architecture, heritage, and the built environment. To get us started, allow me to introduce our 2020 chapter president, Mr. Vicky Chan, AIA.
Thank you everyone for coming to our annual honor and awards ceremony. Despite challenges we have from COVID-19, we see extraordinary turnout for our HNA submission. This year, we have to do a lot of things like virtually, including this ceremony, and also the judges that we invited. Many of them had to help us oversee using Zoom as a platform to judge over 60 entries. Our jurors and our firm award has a really special message. All the jurors for both awards that we are giving out today are sending a message. We wanted to tell people that the architects and the project that we do has to be very diverse, inclusive, and all the projects that are winning award tonight, they are in many ways improving the community at large. We are very thankful for a lot of volunteers and our committee for making this honor and award feasible. So I wanted to thank our chair for the HNA committee, Alfred King. I want to also thank EXCO and our office manager, Claire Huang, and also our MC tonight, Scott Brooks. So without further ado, I'm going to give it back to Scott.
All right, thank you, Vicky. So our rundown tonight, we're going to be recognizing 3 outstanding architecture students who are studying in Hong Kong. Then we'll introduce the recipient of our citation award, followed by the heart of the evening, which is our honors and awards announcements. And finally, announcement of the architecture firm award. So let's jump into the Scholastic Award. Every year, our chapter recognizes outstanding academic achievement and leadership through our Scholastic Awards, which are conferred on top students in the architecture programs at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the University of Hong Kong, and Zhuhai College. The recipient of our Scholastic Award at the Chinese University of Hong Kong is Robin Albrecht. In selecting Robin for this award, the school's dean remarked, Robin is a clear conceptual thinker, always invested in bringing greater knowledge and substance to his design proposals. He's both self-driven and self-questioning, approaching every part of his work with a keen and inquisitive mind. Studio time spent with Robin was an absolute pleasure, full of knowledge sharing and earnest critique and exchanges.
Today we are very honored to have given the award physically to Robin at our PMK office.
All right, the recipient of our Scholastic Award at the University of Hong Kong is Choi Wai Pan. In making this selection, the school's dean remarked, Choi Wai Pan's performance during her undergraduate education in architecture was exemplary. She excelled not only in design studios, but as well as in the other courses, consistently during the 4 years of her studies. Her graduating architecture capstone project stood out especially from her peers for its relevance, imagination, and strong resolve. High praise indeed.
Again, we're very honored to present this award to Choi Wan Pong today.
And the recipient of our Scholastic Award at Zhuhai College is Ching Yuan-Ki Janice. In making this selection, the dean's remarks, Ms. Ching graduates with first-class honor from our BSc Honors in Architecture program. A talented, self-motivated, and passionate youngster, Janice demonstrates outstanding academic results throughout the years of study and was selected outbound exchange student to study at Hasselt University in Belgium in the 2017-18 academic year. It is our department's honor to nominate her to be a recipient of the AIA Hong Kong Chapter Scholastic Award 2020. A little bit louder, Vicky. Your mic is kind of down. Moving on to the community citation. We have one community citation this year and regrettably no awards for honorary membership. Our community citation is for the Mills. A sensitively designed adaptive reuse of 3 existing industrial buildings belonging to Nanfeng Textiles in Zhenwan. The buildings have been interconnected with bridges, and space has been leased out to a variety of retail outlets and food and beverage venues, providing an interesting maze of activities, including landscaped roof terraces to get away from it all. The showpiece of the Mills is CHAT, the Center for Heritage Arts and Textile, which occupies the 2nd floor of Mill 6 and is situated above the main entrance to the complex. This is a showcase that explains the history of the milling and dyeing industry that used to be present in Hong Kong, but has long since moved to China and elsewhere. We highly recommend an outing to the Mills when you have time. One opportunity will be on December 14th, when we physically present this award during our Light B Symposium. All right, moving on to the heart of the matter, our AIA Hong Kong 2020 Architecture, Interior Architecture, Urban Design, and Sustainability Awards. This year, we had 60 submissions in architecture, interior architecture, unbuilt, and urban design. We can move. Our jurors, this is details, right? Our jurors were a distinguished panel of architects and educators. We had Todd Williams, FAIA, and Billy Tien, AIA, of Todd Williams, Billy Tien Architects, Catherine Chia, FAIA, and founding principal of Desai Chia Architecture, Claude Godefroy, MAA, partner and design principal of Henning Larsen here in Hong Kong, and David Durney, REBA, Director of Architecture at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. From our 60 submissions, our jurors selected 6 for award distinction: 1 merit award for architecture, 1 honors award for interior architecture, 1 merit award for interior architecture, 2 merit awards for urban design, and 1 merit award for sustainability. With some overall jury comments, please enjoy this video from jury chair Catherine Chia.
My name is Catherine Chia, and I was honored to serve as the jury chair for the AIA Hong Kong Design Awards program. We deliberated over a number of days, looking at each project and considering each one very, very carefully. In the end, it was good design that prevailed throughout. But it was really wonderful, inspiring design that allowed us to bring the best projects forward. We were honored to be able to see so many different talented firms and the kind of work that they were doing throughout the region. This past year has been challenging for everyone, and we recognize how difficult it's been to be able to continue on with the work that we all do. But we were really very happy to see that you were able to provide us with wonderful projects to consider, and we tussled over them. There was a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, and even some arguments along the way. But in the end, we want to congratulate all of you for your submissions, and we want to congratulate those who had risen to the top to become award winners for the truly wonderful work that they were able to produce and show us. Thank you again, and have a wonderful year ahead. We wish you the best of health and also great design in the coming years.
All right, so let's find out who the winners are. Starting off with our architecture category, The recipient of our Merit Award is Growing Up by New Office Works. The jurors considered the Growing Up Pavilion a great destination that used natural materials in a creative manner to create a sense of delight. It's a significant addition to the West Kowloon Cultural District. I believe we have comments.
Right. We have the AIA has presented the certificate. We have presented the certificate earlier today to new Office of Works. So without further ado, we're going to let them present to you what their project is about. Paul, I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that you could begin sharing.
Sure, thanks. Okay, so I'll share my screen real quick.
Try to keep it to 5 minutes again.
Yep. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So thank you very much to AIA Hong Kong chapter and to the jurors. We are really honored to receive this award. So the pavilion's title is Growing Up, and the site is located in between the nursery park in West Kowloon facing the harbor. So this photo shows you the site in the middle, and in the back we have the nursery park facing the harbor. So the idea of growing first initiated by thinking about West Kowloon being a growing cultural district is been ongoing for the past 20 years, but in recent years we have been seeing a lot of the major cultural buildings being nearly finished its construction. So we want to capture this essence of the cultural district in the making. And in another level, we wanted to address the nursery park right next to the pavilion, which is about the idea of growing trees. So the pavilion has a relatively simple volume. We wanted to address the waterfront by having a larger profile that speaks to the harbor front, while on the other side, it create a more human scale form. And also there will be different ways of circulating and providing views. And lastly, we wanted to also incorporate weather such as rain and wind as part of the architecture. So the pavilion has different aspects and quality from looking at from different angles. So from certain angle, it will have a very clear and transparency, while on the other side, it reveals the structure in a more distinct manner. And this site plan shows the two conditions provided by the pavilion. On the left-hand side, you can see there are a lot of columns that create almost a screen that when people are approaching the pavilion, they will first encounter almost like a screen that is covering what's ahead, and then they would then walk through the tunnel and finally arriving at a more open space that create a multiple purpose area. So here is the site plan. So we wanted to make the construction relatively easy. So everything is very modular, such as all the roof tiles are the same with exactly the same kind of detail throughout. So in order to create a more sense of repetition and sense of rhythm. But then if you actually look at the plan, there are also different dimensions and variations of the steps that creates a landscape topography. And here we are also trying to capture different characteristics of Hong Kong. So one of them is the narrow alley. And we also wanted to capture the density of scaffoldings that you see throughout the city. And the steppe landscape, because of the mountainous landscape of Hong Kong, the traditional roof, but without actually simply imitating the roof, we wanted to convey this traditional way of construction by employing transparent and lighter material. And palm trees almost as an artificial nature that you see throughout Hong Kong. And like I mentioned before, rain being part of the architecture, especially in the summer where Hong Kong has a lot of heavy rains. So these 6 characters almost as fragments that become ensemble of the pavilion as a whole. And while the pavilion has various function and multi-purpose, such as screening or there are different performances, in the most days, it will be a framing device for the sunset. So we use wood, which is a pine that is called C40 pine. And the pavilion was essentially built once in a factory to ensure everything was in place accurately before it transported onto the site and then installed on site. So the construction on site was relatively quick. It took about 3 weeks. And here are the beams coming into place. And like I mentioned, we wanted to, we draw influences from the traditional roof while still wanted to have a contemporary take on it. So we intentionally blow up the scale of those roof tiles and the shingle detail, but then they are still small enough for a single worker to handle. So here are some finished photos. And from a certain angle, the pavilion emerges out of its surrounding. And this is the approach to the pavilion where, like I mentioned, the harbor view ahead is basically screened by the steppe, but there's a very clear entranceway, which is this tunnel here that draws people in. And once you are on the other side, the space opens up and you get a clear view towards the harbor. And here are some detail of the roof. We spend quite a bit of time making sure that the detail is something that captures a traditional way of doing the shingle, but in a new way. And here's the view being framed. And at night, the pavilion has a relatively different atmosphere. During the day, the underside of the steppe was the darkest area, but at night, it actually becomes the brightest. And we particularly like this photo, the pavilion being sort of set against the Hong Kong skyline. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Paul. And again, congratulations.
Thank you. Let me just stop sharing.
Okay, I think we are ready for the next award.
Okay, I've lost my screen. Are we up for interior architecture?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to interior architecture. The recipient of our honor award, Typo Youth Hostel by Architecture Commons Limited. There's a bit of comment on this naturally. The jurors noted that the architects succeed in turning a low-budget subsidized housing project into an inspiring incubator for younger generations. The Typo Youth Hostel combines ambitious programs with inviting public spaces in a unified design that's seldom seen to serve low-income communities. Programmatic and spatial arrangement on the lower floors of the building successfully engage with the community and provide identity. The jurors believe the project advocates change and makes a positive impact in its community and to our society.
Earlier today, we were very lucky to actually hand out the award to Architecture Commons and also their client behind this project. So without further ado, Rick, can you take it over?
Sure. So let me share my screen. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yes.
Are you guys seeing the PDF?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I should be starting on this slide actually. All right, so first of all, thank you very much to AIA Hong Kong chapter and also to the jury for selecting us for the Interior Design Award. We are very humbled and also really caught by surprise that you know, the design and also our social mission is appreciated and also recognized. So this project is really a response to the Hong Kong housing problem. And I guess, you know, we all have seen this picture and, you know, it's not an understatement to, it's not an overstatement to call it a crisis, really. And the government actually, you know, came up with this policy for youth housing back in 2012 to provide 3,000 units in various districts. But unfortunately, to date, you know, only 78 units have been built. Which is, you know, in typo in our hostel. When we approached the problem, we very much did not want to provide just subsidized housing because, you know, after a few years, after they finish, you know, their sort of stay in this building, you know, what would they do? We really wanted to do something to empower the young people, to help them sort of lift them from their sort of low income bracket. So the terms of the hostel actually, there's a little bit of a story, so I'll just go through the background a little bit. The sort of entry requirements is that you're aged 18 to 30, you have a full-time, part-time, or self-employed job, and then your income is lower than 21,000 Hong Kong dollars. The terms is that you can stay for a maximum of 5 years, and the rent is at 60% of the market rate. Now, this is the original site with the two-story youth spot building in the corner of the street in Taipo. Basically, the government was looking for NGOs who has this kind of small building that can be demolished and then replaced with the hostel on top. So our client is the Hong Kong Federation of Youth Groups, and they were the first and still is the first to, you know, come up with this prototype hostel building. So when we approached the problem, we first really dissected and kind of deconstructed really the living unit. We know that very early on, if we were to put everything back into its place, you know, with bathroom, kitchen, living and dining, we're not going to get anywhere. Everything will be compromised and there's basically no character. So we wanted to bias certain elements in the different units. For example, in this unit here, maybe the dining area. And the end goal was to, you know, give each unit kind of a sort of character, and that the entire floor would sort of act as like a single flat that people would communicate and, you know, have more like a co-living kind of environment. But of course, the idea of character, you know, is something that is very scary to the government officials. They they totally did not get the idea at all. And at the end, we settled on this idea of prioritizing work. This is an idea that they can get behind. You know, they always think that, you know, these kids, you know, will be working 18 hours a day on their sort of dead-end jobs. But of course, we wanted to empower them, right? We wanted them to sort of exercise their creativity after hours to do something on their own. And if we can help them sort of get out of the income bracket to start up, or, you know, have some other ideas that they can cultivate. That is what the hostel is really meant for, and also to come up with this mechanism to have alumni helping the next generation. So these are just some process. You know, we wanted the flat to be a place of creativity, to foster collaboration, and to them to really be different and try something that, you know, that is outside of their sort of normal daily routine. So let me just fairly quickly jump forward to our design. This is the replaced youth spot, which occupies the bottom 2 floors of our building. So the podium has 4 floors, and then in the bottom we have this sort of open performance space. So this is really the kids, would come after school and hang out casually. And then we also have a black box theater on the first floor. And moving up to the second floor, we have a intended sort of co-work space, and this is also the residence lounge. So the podium really, has 2 functions, which is for the normal, high school kids, come here after school, and then at night, the residents can also use the view spot. And then the 3rd and 4th floor are the communal spaces. And moving up to the units, it's actually, quite a long debate that we had, that we actually did an engagement exercise. We tried to come up with different styles for the flat, and then we asked, the young people, what style would you like? And at the end, we did adopt 3 different sort of finishing styles, and that was, carried throughout the building. This is the floor plan where we have 5 typical units per floor. And then on the 16th and 17th floor, we do have a larger combined unit. So that adds up to a total of 78 units. And then on the top 2 floors, we push really, really hard for the Hong Kong, government to understand what is co-living. This is really not a new concept. It's just basically a 3-bedroom, shared apartment that is so common in the States, but it was really hard to fight for. And then at the end, we only put in 2 of these units. But from our tour yesterday, we were with Vicky and also Winston and Kevin, and we realized that, this unit has become sort of like the one that people want. Now that they get to know each other, and then this is the format that they really want to live in because they get more space. So this is almost the last slide, and actually, let me jump to a Matterport to give you a better sort of spatial experience of our floor. So I'll try to not sound too much like a real estate agent, but I'll bring you through some of the units so you can get an idea of the view and also the facilities that you get. A pretty proper studio unit for each individual. And this was actually really used for the young people to choose the flats. They really get to experience this before they commit. So in each unit, you'll see that you have like a little pantry, and you have a double bed and a very decent bathroom as well. So very quickly, I'll go through these 3 units. And this is the one that has the interesting acoustic window, because you can see here, there is a railway right there. So we did a lot of work, trying to mitigate the sound and then to make the units really livable. And I think the window really works. And then the young people who live here really appreciate the different style that they have. And it really helps them to sort of build their confidence and also to come together as a community and think of different things that they can do together. And it's really rewarding to see that the building is, getting a life on its own. And let me just end with this view that pretty much every resident really love, a view of the overall typo and also of the Tolo Harbor. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for that, Rick. I love that view. I'd like to have that view.
I know it's really something that the young people really look forward to. Thank you again.
Okay, I'm ready, Vicky. All right, our second recipient of a merit award for interior architecture. I shouldn't say second, our recipient of the merit award for interior architecture is Valextra Honolulu by Collective. Our jurors praised that Valextra Honolulu is both functional and beautiful at large and small scale. Its architectural approach for an interior design project was very well executed. The architect's democratic approach to engage the retail entrance was considered a breakthrough by our jurors from conventional shop fronts.
We presented the award to the whole team of the Collective earlier, and
sorry, I can't quite hear you, Vicky.
We presented the award to Collective earlier today, and Betty won't be able to present in person, but they were able to record a video. So we now will play a video for them to present the project.
Hi everyone, this is Betty. I'm the founder of Collective Studio. Very sorry today we couldn't be here in Zoom in person to join this ceremony. We're extremely honored to have received this Merit Awards for Interiors. Here I'm going to share with you our project, and I would like to first go into explaining a little bit of our office, since this is the first time we have ever submitted for an AIA award. I'm sure everyone immediately recognizes this piece of artwork and know clearly who made it. But what I wanted to really focus on is that the idea of collective definitely comes from this collectivity of effort, which the work that you see is always produced by a team, and we would very much like to always celebrate the team. This is a team at Collective. And Collective is led by 4 directors, and we have engaged ourselves during school and during work for many years. And we came together and set up this studio focusing on architecture, interiors, urban design, and a lot of experiential art projects. So for Valextra Honolulu is located in Honolulu in Ala Moana Mall, which is considered one of the biggest outdoor shopping mall in the world. It is located in shop 2209, which is on the ground level, and it is semi-outdoor. We found the site situation very intriguing. The store is extremely lean. It's very deep, 30 meters deep, and only 7.3 meters wide in the storefront, which seemingly to be a very kind of a bad constraint for a retail store when a lot of it relies on window display. This is a situation when we arrived for site visit with the current store in place, but what we found very inspiring is actually how shoppers and people not shopping use the area outside the store where they sit and hang out, drink coffee and talk. So as you show, Collective works a lot with options. We have created several options and decided to go with what is in the middle called the steps. The main reason is that we think it's very important to, number one, mitigate the very, very long length of the store, and how do we actually make use of this seemingly a big constraint of a very limited storefront and create a store that really brings people in. So the first thing we thought of is actually having an object, what we call the window display here in yellow. It's a mountain we create that also kind of get inspiration from Hawaii with its water, with its sand, with a mountainous kind of landscape. And so we also make use of such kind of emotion of the local, trying to bring in sand and clay and the vernacular in. So we decided to cover up the store totally with a clay, and also we take out all the drop ceiling and created a very tall space because we wanted to accommodate this what we call the mountain inside the store, which also doubled as a window display. So what we did is we have this kind of building module, and we were working with Mutina, an Italian ceramic company, and we created a bespoke blue color for the Valextra Honolulu store. And again, one of the very important thing for us being in the outdoor shopping mall and at the same time at the ground level is how do we open up the storefront. We have observed every store in our Moana shopping mall that they're all enclosed, highly air conditioned, and we have proposed to the client to actually open up the facade to really inject this openness and fun and liveliness back into a very, very prominent location. So this is a 4-meter tall pivoted door, and here you can see the threshold that these doors will be continuously open during opening hours. And this is the what we call the mountain display, which visitors can meander through left and right, and that will naturally guide you into the back of the store. Every piece of display is bespoke. We created every piece with a very highly calibrated kind of details, powder-coated steel, we'll incorporate it with lighting, and we want to make sure that one can actually see through all these display blocks. Also, there's a lot of millwork involved. The walls, the cabinetry, and the floor are all in one material. Last but not least, what we call the small leather goods display, these tiny pieces that hold up the small leather goods. We actually contacted our friends Ume Studio, located in Oakland, California. They were quite an expert in these kind of material called gypsum plaster, and we have designed all these display tools with the color that we want, and we contacted them to produce them in California, and they were sent to Honolulu. So these are the moments, close-up moments that each piece of tool were actually designed specifically for a category of leather goods that Philestra carries. And here you can see the angle of the legs of the tray are actually in direct relationship with the angle of each of the ceramic pieces. And last but not least, an image that we like very much is that despite we are architects working on architectural projects, we do a lot of interiors, but at the same time, we really care about these tiny little details and small pieces of goods that will help enhance the overall kind of spatial experience in a retail store. So thank you very much today for having us. This is the end of my presentation, and I really hope that we can meet in person one day very soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the meeting in person sometime soon. And congratulations again to Collective. All right, moving on to our urban design category. We have an exciting project here. The recipient of our Merit Award in Urban Design is the Beijing Dongzhuo Rihua Creative Cultural Park by SOM. Our jurors concluded that the architects have successfully created a framework of human-scale, vibrant urban spaces for work and living, which is essential for any high-quality modern urban environment. They appreciated the architect's respectful approach to historical fabric and felt that the master plan demonstrates that there are more sustainable ways to revitalize old towns and buildings. The jurors were also impressed by the detailed and practical sustainability strategies illustrated in the master plan, which strives for a carbon neutral future. This is why this submission also received the only sustainability award given this year, a Merit Award for Sustainable Design.
So we handed the award to SOM earlier, and I think Ying Ying from SOM will be presenting this project over Zoom. Ying Ying,
Yeah.
We have your presentation right now on Zoom, so just tell us to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for AIA Hong Kong. It's actually a great honor to be selected as the AIA Merit Award for Urban Design and Sustainability. Today, our client representative Ms. Qi Lu from Beijing Yu Daixin Corporation is also on this call to join the ceremony. Next slide, please. The Beijing Tongzhou chemical plant is located to the east of Beijing city center. It's facing the administrative center and the city sub-center high-speed railway station across the Grand Canal. The cultural and the creative industry in Beijing are developing eastward along Chang'an Street, and the chemical plant is in the industry axis. Next, please. Founded in 1958, the factory is actually a large state-owned light chemical enterprise. Most of the buildings and the landscapes in the factory area are preserved in a pleasant human scale. A middle school is proposed inside the boundary and the location is fixed. But you can see the problem is it actually blocks the east to west connection on the site and occupy a highly valuable parcel. Like the diagram we are showing on the bottom left in the slides. So in this urban design, we try to keep the human scale and identify the kind of valuable ancient building, and also try to minimize the school impact during the design process. Next, please. We try to develop a very simple and clear framework like the drawing is showing. It tries to promote the industry character and establish a healthy open space system. This open space system builds a close connection between the site and the subway and the surrounding district. At the same time, combined with the current railway track on the south side, which is a proposed railway park with 24 hours activity, will become a new destination for the whole Tongzhou district. Next, please. So the boardwalk along the railway park will become the main pedestrian walkway in the campus. Public urban functions such as retail, living, culture, entertainment are arranged along both sides of the boardwalk. Next, please. So our open space system, you can see this slides and the next slides, which is showing the railway park and also the power plant park, is celebrating the unique industry characters on the site with a contemporary setting of programs and space. Next, please. Yeah, this is showing the rail plaza. Also integrate with the power plant on the back. Next, please. So based in close regarding of the existing site condition, urban design also provide guidance for building material and structure expression. Next, please. So this is my kind of last slides. We also have a short multimedia to illustrate the ideas. Actually, beside the major open space and architecture, the key buildings, we also propose more enclosed plazas, courtyard, and the alley space. So this kind of diverse open space system will not only offer protection from different weather in Beijing, but also encourage the air circulation and improve the environmental health. So so we will use a multimedia to illustrate the overall idea, and also you can feel the space and also the architecture and also the landscape detail from this multimedia.
Ying?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I think I also upload the multimedia. I think we can play the, yeah.
Okay.
It's about 2 minutes multimedia. Yeah, thank you.
文化创意产业正推动北京成为国际设计之都，通州伴随着京杭运河开通发展繁荣。依托承载着中国城市发展的运河文明，南侧紧邻京哈铁路，日化二厂是中国工业变迁的缩影，承载着生活的回忆。 保留与提升场地丰富的工业特色，为通州创造一个高质量的城市名片，提升场地与地铁和周边区域的紧密联系。东广场成为面向城市的客厅。 更新后的热电厂拥有全天候活力，铁路公园和栈道系统串联整个厂区。体育公园结合工业构架，创造独特户外体验。 家园中心汇聚社区活力，西侧主入口保留厂区回忆，联系社区西公园。丰富的巷道空间和空中步道，强化友好的人行体验。日化二厂，一个活力聚集地，北京下一代创新设计中心。
That is my presentation. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Ying. That was enjoyable. And congratulations again on the awards.
Yeah, thank you.
Scott?
Okay, and the final award that was awarded by our jurors is a recipient of a merit award for urban design, Canal 24 by Collective. Canal 24 provides a comprehensive network with humble interventions to provide New York with a roadmap to revitalize a neglected canal. The jurors were particularly impressed by the architect's critical selection of the 24 sites that would signify the project's role as a national heritage corridor across New York State.
Again, we presented the award to collected earlier. Betty won't be able to present live, but they made a recording for us.
Hi, everyone. It's us again. It's really a great honor to be receiving 2 awards in one go. The second award that we received is actually the Urban Design Award, which really means a lot to us. So here I will start to share this project. It's a very, very long project and very complicated. I wish I can finish it in the 5 minutes that I'm allocated. So please bear with me. So I would like to share with you guys this very meaningful project for ourselves. I myself, as a graduate from Cornell, so I've been living in upstate New York for a long time. So when we saw this project, Reimagine the Canals, helped by the New York Power Authority, we thought it's really a great opportunity to look into the Erie Canal system. So in 1817, when America was only around 40 years old, construction began on the 363-mile canal linking the Great Lakes to the Hudson River in New York City. It shortens the trip from Albany to Buffalo from 6 weeks to less than a week. This scale and the logistic difficulties that set the Erie Canal apart as one of the greatest achievements of America. And now it becomes around the 520 miles network of New York State Canal System. It basically was a man-made ditch and becomes a very, very successful engineering marvel. The Erie Canal continued to flourish and become a commercial, cultural, and social highway that served as the internet of time. It actually acts as a gateway to welcome influx of immigrants, new ideas from all over the world, and many of the towns become major hubs to nurture social and religious movement, like the Mormon in Palmyra and the Shakers in Schenectady. Even the first Women's Rights Convention took place in Seneca Falls, which is very close to Cornell. So what we have done is, with such a kind of long, big site, which is around 800 kilometers, we started looking into every single town that we found important, and then slowly distilled our 15 major towns along Erie Canal. We looked into all the major locks and all the major, let's say, density of the city to decide which is a density scale, which one is townscape, which one has a limited build-up, which one is rural. And we looked into almost every single town's, let's say, special moments that they celebrate. And we created this, what we call a character map. So our research results in this chart that illustrates different sets of data we have collected. And we call it a character map, but then it highlights the characteristics of the New York State Canal System. Is a giant, enormous data bank that we made that serves as a guide map that allow us to observe what we call the past, the present, and the potential future through the relationship, adjacencies, latencies, and opportunities. So we use this as a tool to determine the possible point of intervention in our project. So there is a population that developed along the Erie Canal that drives the development of various infrastructure network across New York State. There's obviously all kinds of industry where related to art, nature. There's also F&B, accommodation, and commerce. We combine all these together and identify 24 cities that we think is worth our focus to look into every single each of them very closely. And we created this, what we call almost like a guidebook, a guide map. And obviously among these 24 cities, there's this 4 major cities that is probably everyone knows about it, which is Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany. And we sorted the sizes and population of the cities along the canal. And obviously, the four big cities become the major hub, and they're all within 1.5-hour flight to New York City. And these four major magnets are also connected by the Amtrak Empire Service route with around 2 hours speed. 2-hour train ride in between, and there are train stations also located with proximity to the city centers. We have very practical kind of concern of, can people actually reach these places? So what we did immediately is we identified 20 more points along the four big cities as the intervention along the canal system and the New York State Thruway I-90 to create this rhythm of 20 to 30-minute drive or 1 or 2 hour cruising intervals along the canal. So we looked at utilizing the existing infrastructural system to activate the points of intervention. So we incorporate the existing and the proposed Empire State Trail as a means of access. So we're making use of what is already existing there, and we're adding on a particular attraction in every 24 cities, or we call it the 24 sites plus Canal 24. So here we started looking into a smaller scale. We believe that a project in this scale of 800 kilometers that transverse the whole New York State needs to be examined with an overall master planning scale. However, we would like to illustrate the intent of the program initiatives with physical concepts to evoke an understanding among the jury. So in our proposal, we actually focus on the overall New York Canal Program initiatives and zoom into all these 24 sites. And for each of these 24 sites, we include 1 or 2 images to render the potential state of the imaginary or with an appropriated intervention. I'm sure a lot of you recognize some of the buildings we use here, which we credited in our proposal, also with a diagram to illustrate the initial concept and with aerial map showing the intervention in context. So this is the project that we have proposed to the New York Power Authority. It was extremely well received. Among 145 finalists, we were selected as one of the 7, and we were, this is phase 1, and we were asked to join phase 2. So we're very happy with this proposal. We're very proud of it, and we think it's actually very imaginative, humble, but also extremely practical. It obviously, it's important to note that the project of this scale, it has to be implemented in phases. And also we think this model of ecological and sustainable tourism is very probable in this area, taking the example of the Satoshi Inland Island in Japan to utilize arts and culture as a catalyst for nature, heritage, businesses, and tourism to give its glorious day to reclaim the opportunity for New York State. And also it's important to understand that New York already has a huge network of the arts going on in the upstate New York area. Also, Rochester has a brilliant, amazing museum. Of course, there's Storm King and Deer Beacon. As a concept proposal, we lie the foundation in a very kind of practical means of data research and very kind of humble analysis on each city and try to inject various means of intervention, again, including nature, heritage, businesses, and tourism, not only arts and culture, to try to revitalize the dying upstate New York area along the Erie Canal. So this is, we hope one day this will be possible to implement it. And this is kind of a draft guide map we have. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry I couldn't finish the presentation faster. It's a very complicated project. We're very, very glad to be awarded the Urban Design Award upon AIA Hong Kong chapter. And if you would like to hear more about the project, feel free to contact me. We'll be more than happy to tell you all about it city by city. Thank you very much.
All right. Fabulous. We'd like to thank all of our members who made submissions this year. Our jurors this year were extraordinarily particular and critical, so all of our award recipients overcame very high hurdles. Finally, we move on to something we're quite excited about, and that is the Firm Award. We're excited because we haven't given this award since 2004. I'll hand things over to our chapter president, Vicky Chan, for this portion.
Thank you, Scott. The Architecture Firm Award is a once-in-a-lifetime award we give out to AIA firm located in our chapter's region, which is Hong Kong. We use this award to recognize their significant input, not only to our industry, but also to the greater community. We haven't been able to give out this award for quite a long time, so we assemble a really very impactful juror. Moira Moser, FAIA. Moser's firm actually won the IR Firm Award in 2019. William Lim from CL3, Williams FAIA won the Firm Award from AIA Hong Kong in 2004. In order to balance the communal impact from Hong Kong region, we also invited the president from HKIA, Felix Lee, and vice president from HKIA, Corinne Chan, to also give us more insight about the firm and how they are actually contributing to the community in Hong Kong. And over the adjudication, Corinne Chan were actually selected as the chair for this whole process. And Scott, actually, we had a really interesting criteria for this firm award. Scott actually will ask Moira to give us an introduction of what this firm is about and go through some of the comments from the juror.
What were the criteria that were used this year in deciding and judging firms for the Architecture Firm Award?
This is very important because it's looking not just at the individual, but at the entire firm and the culture that that firm has developed, both professionally and within the community. The first criteria is that the firm has demonstrated a great depth and breadth in the work that they do, not just in a single area, but in a broad spectrum of areas. The second is that they are producing work not only individually, but as a collaborative exercise, both within their own firm, together with other architects in the community, and with other architects globally. The third criterion is that the firm itself has a very positive professional reputation within the community, within the professional community, the community at large as well. And this year, there has been an additional criterion added, which is that the firm's policies will support diversity as well as mentoring to bring on board a wider range of talented and capable people and support them in their growth.
Can you share with us some of the flavor of the comments from jurors?
I think that in the sense of the depth and breadth of the work, there's not only urban high-rise design that is typical of Hong Kong, but also single-purpose, more specialized areas of project work as well. And it's certainly an illustration of having worked with other architects to create combined forces that will really result in very positive architectural interventions in the cityscape. For the second criterion, working in a collaborative environment, certainly not only within the firm, because it is a firm of more than one architect and they have a number of talents within the firm, but also in actually working with international architects to promote the future growth of that kind of collaborative interaction within our industry here in Hong Kong, which I think is really very, very important, that we're part of the world and not isolated. The jurors' comments regarding the professional reputation of the firm, is that they are well known among the professional community of architects here in Hong Kong, well known among educators and the public at large, and well respected. In my judgment of in looking at his work, I've been particularly impressed with the way the firm's work looks beyond the actual project itself to take account of the environment or the context within which it is actually located, so that within a high rise, for example, there's a tremendous consideration of how the public will interact with that at ground level. Within a project, maybe a specific purpose project in a rural setting, a marvelous consideration of how that structure will interact with the natural environment around it. So looking beyond the actual project itself to its context and how it interacts with people and the environment, I think is a very strong mark of the firm itself.
Okay, we're all waiting with bated breath to know
So who is it?
what the award is.
Okay, so I think there was a 100% consensus of all the jurors that the Firm of the Year award goes to Ronald Lu and Partners.
Right. What were the criteria?
The EXCO team and also the Alpha 10 of our honor and award committee were able to deliver the award to Dr. Lu and his partner Andy Leung. And today we are very lucky to also have them to present about their practice to us.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Anthony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. I'm Anthony Chung. Can you see our screen? I need to share my screen. Okay, sorry.
You want to share your screen?
Yes. Yes. Can I share?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Let me introduce myself. I'm Anthony Childs, an AIA member of the firm. AIA member since 1994, and director of the RLP for many years. We are extremely honored to receiving this year's AIA Hong Kong Firm Award. RLP was founded by Ronald, former AIA Hong Kong chapter president, as well as Hong Kong AIA president in 1976. i.e. 44 years. RLP has a deep commitment to improve quality of life and set a new benchmark for environmental sustainability. Let me introduce our design 4Ps to you. This design 4P composed of 1, sense of place, 2nd, public engagement, 3rd, health and environmental protection, 4th, social and cultural value prioritizations. Ultimately, the R is the research-led approach. I think we are one of the few firms in Hong Kong can really afford an R&D department within ourselves. We are also very committed to contribution to this to the society. For almost 5 decades, we have been dedicated to improve the built environment in Hong Kong and nurture young talents for the community as well. For the 4P, I start with sense of place first. This is integral, one of our project in Guilin, China. We led the design of this pioneering sustainable textile and garment production center, a tribute to the cultural heritage of Guilin, which sets a new benchmark for contemporary factories in China. We devised an innovative eco-strategy to transform abandoned water bodies into lakes and formulate a master plan to celebrate the famous natural landscape. Employee dignity and pride are the key design factors driving the new production center. Imagine this is actually a factory, not any museum or anything like that, but looks really like a museum myself. It is a world-class facilities and services have been designed to create a friendly, positive, and social work environment to attract skilled workers. This sensor approach to the has transformed the traditional image of industry and encouraged the RD developments to consider a more human-centric design approach. This project has also been awarded the 2019 AIA International Region Design Awards, Open International Sustainable Future Award, and the 2018 AIA Hong Kong Honors Awards in Urban Design. The second project illustrates sense of place is KG5 School in Hong Kong. RLP has designed luminous educational facility, including 2 new academic buildings at this historical co-educational international secondary independent school, which began at its present site since 1936. This new annex was built around an existing mature tree of 18-meter tall. So this is the banyan tree. The project is a good example of how we design for discovery, identify unique opportunity to refine design process by fostering a relationship between the user, the building, and nature. It also highlights our commitment to develop design strategies that promote a sense of discovery and delight. The impact on the quality of learning has been significant, with classes held regularly under tree canopy, creating strong relationship between learning and nature in a unique outdoor setting, unusual in urban contexts such as Hong Kong. This project has also been awarded the AIA Award 2014 as an award for architecture. The second P, public engagement. I would like to illustrate with our project Lee Tong Avenue in Wan Chai, Hong Kong. New Lee Tong Avenue is a redevelopment project located in a strategic location in Wan Chai. The public open space and the shopping arcade with boulevard veranda design concept enhance and collaborate the missing link for urban, social, cultural, and heritage connections, and complete the pedestrian linkage from Kennedy Road to Wan Chai waterfront. Lee Tong Avenue has successfully added vibrancy and charisma to the district and its ample open spaces, extensive greenery, shopping and dining option, and exquisite residences, creating a pleasant, unique experience for the residents and user alike. This is really a new and unique retail concept in Hong Kong. It encompasses within a 200-meter long European-style pedestrian walkway, which is actually what Wan Chai was like around 100 years ago. Capturing this rich heritage of Wan Chai that parallels the evolution of Hong Kong, the design of Lee Tong Avenue is inspired by the streetscape of old Wan Chai in 1950s. This does not only rejuvenate Lee Tong Street, but also the district of around the area. It further presents an exceptional place for dining, shopping, leisure, and cultural enrichment, where East meets West, new meets old, making it a pleasant and interesting exploration. The next project is for illustrating public engagement again. It's a Tsim Sha Tsui waterfront revitalization. It is a successful placemaking cum public engagement exercise that brings together art, design, heritage, and nature in an interconnected ecosystem of global millennials. The Avenue of Stars and Salisbury Garden together form a unique Tsim Sha Tsui waterfront experience and pay tribute to the amazing Victoria Harbour view while providing a warm welcome to the people in Hong Kong and the tourists from all over the world. The revitalization achieved better at grade pedestrian circulation from Nathan Road to the Salisbury Garden and further to the Avenue of the Stars. And the amazing harbour front, it creates exceptional space for public to enjoy a panoramic view of the Victoria Harbour, which is a world-class tourist attractions. Another P, health and environmental protection. This is China Resources Building. RLP led the adaptive reuse of the China Resources Building with a major renovation into a Grade A office and retail complex. The project was the first of its kind in Hong Kong to demonstrate how to preserve an architectural icon within an existing urban fabric while meeting the new standards of sustainable design and upgrading corporate identity at the same time. The site planning allowed it for the introduction of a public plaza, creating a much needed community gathering space for the local neighborhood, as well as the office workers. This project, RRP was instrumental in showing how an existing office building of more than 30 years old could be improved and greened instead of being demolished and thereby achieving significant environmental saving. The project includes enhancing indoor quality of office floor, cutting down the building carbon footprints, and replanning of the podium floor and renovation of facade, all contribute to better insulation and better building performance. It is also the first project in Hong Kong to achieve LEED Core and Shell Gold rating. It was also awarded the AIA Hong Kong 2012 Architecture and Sustainability Award. The next project is Tanner Hills. I would like to introduce this to demonstrate the P of health and environmental protection. This is actually a non-subsidized senior housing built by the Hong Kong Housing Society to provide rental homes for the elderly. The design concept is joyless living with home and lifestyle amenities, as well as professional healthcare and skilled care service. This marks a new standards of care for the elderly that considers psychological and social factors particular to the age. Thoughtful design at existing assisted living complex allows senior citizens to live safely and independently with discreet, age-friendly, safety equipment to prevent falls and also address social isolation without compromising on aesthetics. Okay, the next P, social cultural value prioritizations. This is Sichu Center. We work in collaboration with Reverie Architecture. Together, we design a contemporary cultural center to preserve and promote Chinese opera for all generations. One of the most significant new cultural venues in Hong Kong and a core part of the collections of 17 arts and artistic venues across the district, for which we are also the co-master planner alongside with Hostel and partners. The plaza adds much needed open space to the neighborhood and is currently also used for exhibition and performances. By combining culture and public space, RLP's community-minded design has been instrumental in providing an aesthetic, artistic experience to the visitor, including those who may not normally attend the opera. The building stands out for its striking architecture and pioneering design of public open space, an architectural device that was not in the original design brief, but which was proposed and designed by RLP, maximizing the small urban site by raising the main theater 27 meters above the ground to create this airy urban plaza. This eco-friendly plaza design provides a natural, ventilated, and cooled environment. The 4P and at the last is our research-led approach. RLP follows a research-led approach that emphasizes public engagement in devising collective strategies to create new urban solutions to improve the city. We have two projects here. The first one on the left-hand side is what we have done for the building department, which is a sustainable building design guideline. Now, compliance of this requirement is a prerequisite to gain government-approved growth over area concessions in building plan submission. Since 2011, the majority of new developments have to follow this new guideline. Currently, we are also helping the building department in reviewing the building planning regulations. This exercise requires extensive in-depth research and detailed review of the different region standards for energy efficient building design, climate adaptations, lighting, and ventilation, adjusting this to the Hong Kong context. The proposed amendment to the regulation, the most important statutory instrument for the control of the works of Hong Kong's building works, which cover planning, design, and construction, from projections of building elements onto the street, height, site coverage, to open spaces, lighting, ventilation, fire escape, which affect all the developments in Hong Kong. Our research-led approach also will help the clients to evaluate post-occupancy usages. This is Victoria Dockside again. This is the first project in Hong Kong to undergo an environmental impact post-occupancy review, setting a new monitoring center for the design industry. So we get data, and so that we learn from the process, and such that we can do a better building afterwards. And also this information also will share with the clients and also the intellectual community. Okay, for the future, RLP currently we are involved in the number of future city design. During the process, what we have learned is that actually if we utilize new technologies to the max, I think what we can do is to give back the environment to the users. A lot of time in modern day cities, our streets, which is our most important public space, are occupied by cars instead of human activities. Our discovery was that actually we can turn the environment or the public spaces back to the people, illustrated by the project we have demonstrated on the screen right now. And also we have a number of other future looking projects, including we are working on apps for AR experience for like the CG projects. We have set a monitoring system to monitor built buildings. We have also done paper to ask government to look into making a healthy workplace, and a number of other initiatives that we hope that we can help the future of Hong Kong as well as the world, if possible. Finally, we thank you again for giving us this award. And on behalf of Ronald and all our colleagues, to commit ourselves to further develop complete, well-rounded architects and leaders in the profession, and effective global citizens through supporting equal opportunity for all, so as to develop a diversity of voices, viewpoints, and backgrounds, as well as encouraging and supporting our staff in their personal growth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Anthony, for giving a very inclusive view of not only your project, but also the inclusive practice within your firm to encourage young architects and equal opportunity for everyone. All right, Anthony, can you stop sharing so I can?
Sure.
All right. Okay. So we are coming very close to the end of this evening's presentation. There's one event I wanted to bring your attention to. So now the Open University of Hong Kong Jockey Club Institute of Healthcare will be open to us on November 28th. This is actually a building designed by Ronald Lu and Partners. So if you wanted to see how the firm award recipient is actually making an impact in Hong Kong and to different institutes and the public, this will be our the first and only building tour in 2020. So we will be separated in smaller groups so that we work within the legal boundary of a gathering. But we will be able to get tour some of the very innovative and sustainable idea behind this building. So please look out for the email that we will send out to register for this event. Again, it will be a Saturday morning on November 28th. So thank you again for Scott for being the MC, and thank you for all the panelists and our award-winning architects to be able to give us a really wonderful presentation of your project. And I want to thank our EXCO team who actually we toured the entire Hong Kong to actually hand out this certificate to all the winning project, not only at the location, but we also actually get to meet each one of them and learn from them how they actually maintain their project and their practice. So all of this like wonderful work, not only from the winning architects, but also all the entries from this year's honor and award will be at our physical exhibition at Rotunda in Central on January 24th, 2021. So please, we will actually gather again when the time allows, and we will be able to celebrate all together with all this achievement that we're able to pursue in despite the challenges that we have in 2020. So thank you again to everyone. So and please, if you have any questions about AIA and our honor and award, feel free to reach out to our office manager, Claire. And we're happy to look forward to working with each one of the firm and our members.
Great. Thank you, Vicky. We brought this in on time, I'll note. And thank you again to everyone who made submissions, and congratulations to our winners.
All right, we're gonna